So some of my plants might not be making it through this winter, and this video is my way of coming to terms with that. Hello, my name's Balisa. Welcome to Plants and Things. We're talking about plants and things. Before I get into the actual plants, and I am going to do it as a list from bad to worse, I do want to say that a little leaf loss, a little browning of the leaves is not something to be scared about. That's literally what happens in winter. But if your plant is losing all of its leaves or is itself becoming brown, that might be something to double click on. But yeah, just a little note before we get into the actual plants. We're going to start off with my Marble Queen Pothos. So this is my Marble Queen Pothos, which you guys might remember from the video where I was filling it up because this bottom part was bold-headed and now it is full. But the strands that I had are bare for the most part, and this is probably the tensest leaf situation because these leaves are still dying off on this vine and it's not even looking great at the top. They look so droopy, and every other day I want to cut this vine up. It's looking dry, but I'm gonna hold off until September because the reason I think that this plant lost all of its leaves, or not all of its leaves, but most of the vine's leaves, is because I decided to repot it in winter, which I think is a no-no, but I still did it. But thankfully that vine is trying. And I'm just going to let it chill until winter, but it's not looking good. So all of these, these leaf vines died off after well, not the vines, but the leaves fell off. Some are still evidently falling off. This one, it really does make me so very sad. But yeah, so they all fell off and I was losing an intense amount of leaves every day and it made me so sad. But now it has stabilized, and thankfully the leaves at the bottom have not died off, and yeah, it's growing some things, and I am going to leave it and let it chill. Let it chill and stop messing around with plants in winter. So yeah, that's my Marble Queen Pothos with its very, very bare stems. Next up on my list of plants that are not doing great, and I really do think, like my Marble Queen Pothos, that this Monstera Adansonia is going to survive, but it just started browning. The leaves started brown, brown tips, and I won't say I'm the most consistent waterer with plants anymore. And I probably was not consistently watering this one, especially because it has a really shallow catch pot. But the browning leaves made me decide to chop up the plant. And these are the cuttings, which from where they sit look really, really bad because they're all these brown leaves that just decided to brown off. And so I was convinced, I'm convinced that this guy is probably going to survive the winter, but I really thought these cuttings were goners because they're not looking great. They're not looking great. And I just generally, the Monstera Adansonia in this home are not doing great this winter. I have several props. This is one of the props. It's also browning, but it's not I'm just used to these plants being so full and luscious and beautiful. And perhaps that's also the problem. It's winter isn't for fullness and lusciousness. It's where plants rest, I guess, and we should allow them to rest, and I have not been allowing them to rest. I've been y'all better grow. And so yeah, the situation is not looking very good with these Monstera Adansonias, but this is growing a couple of vines, which is honestly my favorite thing that God does, is when a plant grows more than one vine, and then you're gonna have a full plant. So I do hope this plant will survive. I think it will survive. But yes, there are going to be a few casualties on the way. Next up is a plant that makes me really, really sad. Really, really sad, especially because, when you do something and then you realize after the fact that I actually shouldn't have done that. So this is my one and only orchid, which my mom bought for me. And it was doing so well, and it lived in my windowsill. And I even had, I had it in the bathroom like little mini tour that I did, and it was doing well, and these leaves like stayed on for so long. And one day the leaves started, sorry, I meant the flowers. Wow. As I was saying, the flowers like were looking gorgeous, beautiful, and it started like growing a what is this? It started growing a leaf. Then all the leaves started dying. And the roots are also not looking good right now because the roots at the top are so dry. What is going on with my tongue? Anyway, it must be the shock. So it just started doing that. It started losing leaves, and I was not sure why it was losing leaves, and then it started losing a lot of leaves. And I figured this out way too late. So I, like, one of the things that I absolutely love doing is leaving windows open, even at night. Like, I have sliding doors in my apartment that I leave open, and thankfully I live on the top floor, so I can do that, and I love doing that. And it's not feasible in winter, and I don't do it in winter, but I still leave the window open in the bathroom. And this plant lives in the bathroom, and it just wasn't having it. And I realized too late, because it really continued like having a good time. I think the flowers were the last thing actually start like being like, okay, we're done, because the leaves were falling off long before this, and they still kind of hanging on. I have moved them to a sunnier spot. I have moved this plant to a sunnier spot, and there is a little bud, so that's still like looking fresh and green. So I hope it means that the plant is going to like try. It's just not looking good. Yeah, it is really not looking good. Okay, but there are still some like greenish, blackish leaves. So I really will be sad if my one and only orchid decides to kick the bucket. I hope it will not. I hope it's just like get it together. And I did get it together, and I hope she will survive this and like push new. I don't even know how the stem thing grows, but I hope soon she'll be doing another stem thing. I honestly don't know how orchids grow. This is my first time. But I am heartened by the fact that this looks like it's actually, whoa. I think it's growing a new bud. You know how though sometimes they say that, so now I'm suspicious. I was excited, but now I'm suspicious. So they say that when plants think they're about to die, but anyway, when plants are about to die, they like do a lot of flowers to spread pollen so that they can multiply. So I hope that's not what's happening here, and that the plant is just getting itself together. It's not pushing out a new leaf, which is what would make sense to me. Yeah, this is bad. This is honestly bad, and it makes me sad also. So I think that's number 3. Number 3, I'd like good to bad, bad to worse. Goodness. I honestly wasn't sure whether to add this plant to the list or not, because this plant loses 1,000 leaves every day, and I have become desensitized to it. That's a lie. I'm not desensitized. I'm still annoyed. When I think about this plant, I think about how like it grows really lush and crazy in the summer, and it used to annoy me because I was like, oh, grow up. And now it's like, cool, we're gonna stop that. And I guess it's that whole just dissatisfaction, discontentment of human beings with the situation that you have. But I will say that one thing that heartens me about the plant is the fact that it is known for being fussy in the winter. So I am hoping it's just a winter phase, and that we'll see another winter in which to be annoyed with each other. But yeah, it's just like its new thing is losing leaves. As much as in summer, its big thing was like, I'm going to grow 1,000,001 leaves. I'm just going to keep growing. It was growing like 1,000,001 baby peperomia hopes. Now it's like, we're going to do the opposite, which is terrible. Terrible. and extremely annoying. So yeah, I'm just like, I don't know what to do with it. I have moved it indoors, so that's not the main thing, because I did think, because it did live outside and it was growing lush and beautiful outside, but it has become colder, and then I moved it in like during autumn, but it's still like, I'm checking out. So I hope it's just a phase and that we will see another summer and another winter. But yeah, it's annoying me. It's really annoying me. Oh. Second last place is this Alocasia Frydek that I decided to put up to put in leca in the middle of winter, and I will be surprised if this plant makes it to summer. I will be surprised. I will be surprised. I'm sad, but also kind of over the plant, but also not over the plant, because I would love, one of my dreams is to have a lush Alocasia Frydek, and we're nowhere near that. But honestly, in my defense, and it's not a strong defense, I get that, it's not a strong defense, I have never had more than 2 leaves. I know, again, it's not a strong defense, because why was I putting this in leca in the middle of winter? Do not repot plants. Do not move plants in the middle of winter. If there's anything that you've learned, that you can learn from my mistakes, is that you should not move plants in the middle of winter. And this is what happened with this Alocasia Frydek. The water is just like algae. I'm not gonna throw it away, but yeah, it's not looking good. It's not looking good. It really is not looking good. And I want to put this on Alocasias and be like, they're really fussy, but equally, as fussy as they are, this also lived in the bathroom. After the whole repotting, I also moved it to the bathroom where the window was kept open all hours of the day. And so now I have moved it to a sunny spot. It actually might be too late. But it's just not, it's bad. It is really bad. So yeah, that's my Alocasia Frydek. Last up is this lemon lime that I'm even scared to touch the leaves, because remember in the beginning of the video when I said, if the plant itself is browning, it's really bad. This is a prime example of that. And I know exactly what I did. I have no defense here. I decided to separate these plants, repot the spikes, like pot it up. Basically repotting. Do not repot plants in the winter. I feel like I've learned that. Should have known that, because I tried that probably last year and it probably didn't work out. But I think this year it's because I have like videographic evidence of my nonsense that I'm like, you better not do this again. So this plant is not looking great. But I think even when I decided to put these plants up, because they also were not like, the leaves were falling off, not this guy, the others more than this guy, but it just was not looking great. It wasn't looking great for these plants, and I don't know why. And then I decided to exacerbate the issue. Yeah, that's what I decided to do. And like pot them up in different pots, and it's not looking great. And Exhibit A, it's really, again with this plant, I will be surprised if we make it to spring/summer. Yeah, and I will be surprised. And I was over the plant. Did I say that already? I kind of was over the plant though, because it really was just, so I'm not as sad as I am / will be about the Frydek. If the Frydek does not survive, and my orchid, if the Frydek and the orchid don't survive, I will be really sad. This guy, I'll say good day, sir. Yeah, but this is the plant that's doing the worst, which, you know what, considering the number of plants that live in this home, I guess it's not so bad. But do better. I want to do better, and I will do better. and I will not be doing the nonsense that I've been doing this winter. That concludes the video. Yeah, so things are not the best in this home right now, but thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.